So Gurbani was trying to give us a message. The last couplet in that was Rakh leho prabh karnahar ji jant kar daya bin prabh koi na rakhanhar maha bikat jam bhaya nanak naam na visrao kar apani har maya. So, what was the message? Whenever there is a suggestion by a mystic that in order to improve your existence, in order for you to get closer to the creative energy, you need to make these modifications in your life, in your thinking pattern, in your lifestyle. So now, since somebody has said do something, we get caught in the language and say, well, so I'm going to do something. And from looking from the outside, how innocent that statement is. I'm going to do something. Why? Because my Guru said so. Do you find any problem in this statement? You don't. And therein lies the major problem. Why? Those are the mysteries of Gurbani. Guru said, change what you're doing now. Stop doing this instead of do that. And without understanding what the Guru is saying, I immediately became a doer. And I justify to myself, I am doing it because my Guru told me to do. Without realizing that Guru said, you are not the doer. The doer is somewhere else. You are a conduit through whom everything is being done. Just recognize that. Just see the truth of this. Instead of seeing the truth of this, I started doing. Not only that, I started declaring to the world. Look at me. How good a follower I am of my own master. मेरे गुरु ने किया है सो मैं बिल्कुल वही कर रहे हैं. सुबह 2 बजे उठता हूं, अब सारी दुनिया को जगा देता हूं, तुम भी उठो. क्यों? मेरे गुरु ने कह दिया. Without realizing that that was the problem. You are the problem. You being the doer is the problem. Your doing is not. The fact that you remember, the fact that you emphasize, the fact that you reiterate to everyone, I am the doer. That's a basic problem. That is what Guru was trying to tell you. Polya, how may Krodh Visar. O Bhole, O naive one, forget what? How? Man. How means the ego part. Man means the I part. I am. There is only one thing in this universe who can say, I am that I am. Remember that movie, 10 Commandments? When Moses asked him, oh God, what should I tell them? Who gave me these 10 Commandments? So just say, I am that I am. gave you this. There's only one who literally can say, I am. What should I say about me? Because if I say I am not, look at the trap of the language. Let us say that I say I am not. Then the question is, am I not? Because in order to declare I am not, isn't the I needed? See the trap? The trap of the words, the trap of the language. Unless you can go beyond the words, mysticism has no meaning for you. Unless you can transcend the language, there's no way you can see beyond what is being communicated with you. Gurbani, even though written in words, and there's a black and white. If you look at the page, there is certain blackness separated by certain whiteness. And what's required? Don't focus on the blackness. Read the whiteness. Can you? Do you have the desire? Does it make sense to you? Or you are seeing an image in the sky. Can you detach yourself from the image and just see the sky? If you cannot, then spiritualism, mysticism, metaphysics, these are just few more words added to the same language. And you have lost. And that's what the message was in our last sitting. Let's go read those 3 lines again so that you can see the message. What is the message in our last thing? Rakh leo prab karnahar ji jant kar daya. You are the doer. Rakh leo. You are the one who is doing it. Otherwise, who can do it? Is there any other sustaining force in this universe other than that one? Rakh leo. You are the one who prab karanahar. Then why do it? What is in it for you? Why are you doing this? Right? Isn't that the same question we ask? Well, I'll do it for you, but what is in it for me? I am reading the last 3 lines of the 84th hymn, which is 7 or 8 lines above the bottom. Ragh leo prab karanahar ji jant kar daya. That's what is in it. That's why you are doing it. Why? Daya. Grace. Your compassion. What else are you going to do? When you have created me, what else you can do? You can only have compassion for me. You cannot have hatred for me because I am your creation. Because if you hate me, then why would you create me? If you reject me, why would you let me be? I remember a poster when about 40 years ago when I saw this, and there is a little kid and he's looking at like this and he's saying, God, I know I am something because you don't create any junk.
That's That's the best one.
I know I am something. Because you cannot create junk. Only humans create junk. He does not. And we have a problem. We say, no, wait a minute. He created a sinner. Sinner and the holiness is a label that you and I and the language created. There is no sinner when he created. Because if that was a sinner, could he not strike the lightning and get the sinner off the earth right away? He strikes the lightning and burn 1,000 acres of land. You don't think that he can take a sinner away? Now, sinner and the holy is a humanistic concept. It has nothing to do with the Creator. I can guarantee you that to a non-Hindu, it is impossible to understand how can Krishna say, go kill.
Sorry, what did you say?
To a non-Hindu, it is impossible to even rationalize. How can a spiritual being of the level of Krishna tell Arjuna, go kill? It's impossible. You can explain, you can be blue in your face, they'll keep on saying, that does not make sense. I'm sharing with you, I was traveling from Bombay to Delhi in a plane, and somebody made a comment to me. I said, Gita is nothing more than the rumblings of a child. I said, sir, that's a rather extreme statement. Why would you say that? And he looks at me and says, well, Gita says he is greater than the greatest and the smaller than the smallest. How is that ever possible? Something that is greater than the greatest, how can it be smaller than the smallest? And I looked at him and said, only which is greater than the greatest can also be smaller than the smallest.
Beautiful.
And he said, see, I rest my case. You are also talking like a child. And I couldn't. We had an hour and a half flight, and I tried to convince him and communicate to him just that one statement. Nothing else. We just talked about the Hindu seers and mystics' definition of the creative energy, and I could not get it. Because it was logical. This is mystical. And what it is saying? It's saying, if you created me, what else can you do? You cannot reject me. So what is the expectation? The very logical expectation. What? Rakh leo prabh karnahar ji jant kar daya. The whole of the universe is sustained out of your compassion. No other reason. Even mother doesn't have that. Because when the child is not growing up according to the mother, she says, okay, fine, go live your life. I have nothing to do with you. I don't want to be associated with you. Don't tell them you were born to me. Because if this is what you're going to do, I don't want to be known by you. Does the Creator ever say that to anyone? Oh, Mr. Hitler, you're going to kill 6 million people. I don't want to be known by you. I did not ever create you. I denounce you, I renounce you, I disown you, I do not want you. And when you come back, don't come back to me, go somewhere else. Have you ever seen that? Where does this come from? Gurbani's word is daya, compassion. That's why that is the first condition to get on the path of spirituality, which is ताल तरम, आगे की है दया का पूत. Where the compassion does not exist, dharma, compassion is the mother and the dharma is the son. दया का पूत, पुत्र है किसदा? दया रूपी मां दा. जिथे दया नहीं उथे धर्म वाला पुत्र पैदा ही नहीं हो सकता. That's it. Any heart that does not have a compassion cannot call itself to be a religious, a spiritual, a mystical heart. Impossible. They are in a denial, a self-deception. Cannot happen. Once you get that compassion, what's the next requirement? Santokh thap rakhya jin soot. What keeps it together? Contentment. Santokh. A human being which is not contented, who is not contented, cannot be a spiritual being. And therein lies the dichotomy. Immediately a young blood will absolutely get revolting in a rebellious phase. Wait a minute. It is the discontentment of the West which made such a development possible. Hold it. There is a difference between trying to improve upon something than complaining about something. Complaint is coming from the negative direction. And the dissatisfaction, I can do better. I can improve upon this. I have not reached the perfection yet. It's a totally different quality. And we don't see the difference. We insist that the discontentment is the root of improvement. I beg to differ with those who insist that. It's not the discontentment. It is the desire for seeking the perfection. You look at something and say, it can be better. I haven't reached the perfection yet. Why? Why should a human decide that? The answer is staring in our face. Claim not perfection. Perfection is divine. Human can never claim perfection. Only divine is perfect. Hence, human looks at everything that he makes and say, I can do better. Let me try next time. I haven't perfected it yet. And we confuse it with what? Complaining, discontentment, unhappiness. We associate with it negative energy. It should have been very positive. I'm improving upon it. I'm going further on my journey. Whether I'm improving upon making a piece of paper, making a recorder, making a harmonium, or making my own mind-body system. I am here now. I need to go further. I haven't reached the ultimate. When will be the ultimate? Once again, what is the ultimate? Perfection is divine. When you become part of the divine, you are done with improving yourself. Till then, you have a lot of work to do. And that's what this message was. Rakh leo prab karan har, ji jant kar daya, bin prab koi na rakhan har. You are the only one. Just one. Maha bikat jam bhaya, nanak naam na visra. Why? नाम क्यों ना विसरे, क्यों ना भूले? Because that's the means to the end. That's what gets you there. Every time we forget that we are the part of that source, There's a beautiful metaphor in Gurbani that there is a river and the name of the river is Babbar. Okay? Small river. And the metaphor says, Babbar tu Haryavala Kanchala Kanchan one. Oh, small river. Last time I came here, there was so much beauty around you. Kamala Kanchan one. Kaval phol di tarah, Kanchan sone di tarah. Tu ta chamkda pya si. There was so much beauty around you. The birds were singing. The fish was floating around you. And now I look at you and suddenly, Kis dokhde sadiyo hai? What happened to you? Now I'm looking at you. You are completely dried up. There are cracks in your earth, right? पानी सूख जाए तो मिट्टी फट जाती है ना. काली हो या अद्य हो रही. The land has become dark, right? काली हो जाती है. I don't know if you can visualize that image. What happened? And as if the river answers it back. And he says, the river talks back, he says, Nanak main dhan bhang, jana pani na laha, jit seti mera sang. कहते गलत कुछ नहीं. It's a very simple thing. That water, which the source of my life, was coming from the ocean. And between the ocean and myself, now there is a barrier. I have broken away from it, from my source. Slowly, whatever water I had dried up, because I separated myself from the source. Just there is a little wall. जिस तरह मिट्टी दा एक होर टिल्ला बन जाए, right? A little hill, a little bund. Now the water is not coming to me anymore. Jana pani na laha. There is no more water flowing. From where? Jit seti mera sang. The one I was attached with before, I got separated because of a little bund. What a metaphor. Isn't that very true of us? Between us and that creative energy, वो बंद केड़ा है?
The body.
Not the body.
The harmony.
Not the body.
The harmony.
The ego. The I.
Ego. The I.
I am me and you are you. It is that barrier. I am not willing to let go of the I. How can I? Look at me. Well, I am not God. It is blasphemy. How should I call myself God? And Gurbani declares, no, you are. Man, tu jyot swaroop hai. Apna mool pehchan. Just recognize it. You are focused on this flesh. And that's a problem. But you are not. You are Him. Now, if any one of you want to conduct an experiment, tomorrow morning, get up early, go to the ocean, and face the water, and at the top of your lung, just say, I am God. Just say that. Just yell it. Acknowledge it to yourself and to the universe. Say, I am God. And see what happens to your inner. The guilt will kill you. Because you are acknowledging the reality.
Because?
You are acknowledging the reality. And you have trusted the lie so long that even stating the truth will sound strange. Nobody is listening. You, the ocean, and the one who created the ocean. That's it. Be alone. And just try to declare it and see what happens. The reality is you're just acknowledging the fact. What is the problem? The problem is that I insist on being separate. I insist on being different. I insist on being unique so that I can maintain my ego. And Gurbani says, you still look at all of this and then do what? बिन प्रभ कोई न रखण हार महा बिकट जम भया. Knowing that maha bikat, the complete untruth, yet you spoke. You do not turn away. Why? And then the last line concludes it and says, Nanak naam na visra. So long as the human remembers the unique truth, which is, I am part of it, that is the process that gets you where Kare apani kar maya, har maya, usdi kirpa, His grace continues flowing whether you do it or not. If you get there, ever, then the next line becomes a reality. And this is where the 85th hymn starts. The reason I spent so much time is that you can see that when the Guru Arjan was arranging these hymns from the surface, it doesn't look any. What's the idea? Shri Rag Mela Panjwa, Shri Rag Mela Panjwa, Shri Rag Mela Panjwa. How do you know what to put one first and what to put behind? Right? This was arranged almost 125 years later than Guru Nanak. So what told him what hymn should come first and what should hymn go second? Here is the link. What's the link? Mera tan ar dhan, Mera raj roop, मैं देश सुत दारा बनता अनेक बहुत रंग आर वेश हर नाम हृदय न वसई कारज किते नाले. This is what I am trapped in. I was given a message and human refused to accept it. Human refused to acknowledge it. Instead, what they do? Look at the hymn. Mera tan. So if you just stop at that and ask yourself, is it your body? I mean, if it is your body, I have a dollar in my pocket and I can say my dollar. Why? I can tear it apart, I can burn it, I can give it to somebody, I can spend it, I can throw it out. I have 100% control over this because it is mine. What control you have over your body? Can you stop it from growing old, falling sick, getting sad, getting happy, getting hungry, getting sleepy? Can you tell anything to your body that it listens to you? What control do you have? Yet you claim, my body. As a matter of fact, in this country, right now, there is a division. Half of the country says the woman owns the body, so she has a right to tell it when she wants to give the birth and when she wants to abort. and the other half says, no, you don't have any right to do that. That's God's will. The country is completely divided right in the middle. That's why you cannot decide and put this issue to bed forever. They don't understand. They keep on claiming, Mera tan, our dhan. How many PhDs you know who are standing on the road and literally begging for food? And you think you are earning it because it is your hard work? Because I did my PhD and I'm making so much money because of my PhD? Don't you know PhDs who are starving? Haven't you seen it? When I came in 1971, I saw PhD literally digging trenches, babysitting. You know why? Because this country was going through recession, Vietnam War was shut down, the people were coming back, space program was shut down because of the Apollo 13, and the people who were specialists in California could not find even babysitting jobs. I saw that with my own eyes. That in extreme heat, they literally said, guys, और अभी कोई मेरे फावड़ा तो दे दो, मैं जाके खेतां च काम कर लेना. I can go pick the fruit. Allow me to at least be able to eat honorably. And this country cannot afford that. And we insist. Look at this. I came with nothing, I built this all. That's the arrogance. That's the ego. And Gurbani says, you were given a message. You did not take it. And you reiterated what? Mera tan ardhan, mera raj roop madesh. All of this space, desh means all of this space, I am maintaining it. Sut means son. Dara means wife. Sut, Dara, Bandita, Anek Bahot, Rang, always. All of this collection around me is mine. I created it. So what does that do to you? Har naam hriday na vasai. Now where's the possibility of? What was the last line? In the last hymn, Nanak naam na visra. Right? That was the message. But what is happening? Har naam hriday na vasai. Uthe kya si visre na, ithe kya vasdai nahi. Har naam hriday na vasai, karj kite na le. All that you are doing may be very valuable in the physical dimension, but they have no value in the dimension where you really supposed to go. Kitena, karaj kitena le. It is totally a waste. So, that doesn't mean that it all is hopeless, everything is lost. Say, no, wait a minute. You still have the possibility to come back. Now that's the beauty of the Gurbani. It is not pessimistic in its view of the life. Somebody can say, well, I'm 80 years old. What's the idea now? Well, Gurbani will remind you, Guru Amar Das was 72 years old. Well, I am too young. I shouldn't get started now. Gurbani will remind you, Ram Das was only 12 years old. Take your pick. Well, I am young now, I should enjoy the life. I said, well, Guru Angad was 28 years old. It has nothing to do with age. It's a question of choice. A choice that you have to make conscientiously. Nobody is going to come and twist your arm and say, dummy, why you are making this choice? Why don't you turn around? And nobody's going to come. Even if Guru Nanak was sitting right here, he would repeat these lines and then step back and say, well, take it or leave it. It's your choice. The freedom of choice can never be ever compromised by a mystic or by the Creator. And remember, nature never gives you only one choice. अजी हमारे पास तो और कुछ बचा नहीं था, बस यही कर सकते थे, बेबस थे, इसके अलावा और कुछ किया ही नहीं जा सकता. It's a total lie and exaggeration. You did have other choices. They may not be as pleasant, the one as you are making to yourself, but the choice was there. Creator will never ever leave you with only one thing to do. We perceive it to be that way. Why? Because, well, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Okay, this is the only choice. Wait a minute. You pick the one that you thought was more conducive to you. Nature is not selective in that process. So, it is not all lost. So what should you do? रहाओ दी तुक विच गुरबानियों का जवाब फिर याद दिलांदी है, कहंदी है मेरे मन हर हर नाम ध्याए. ध्याए does not mean कि उसनू bring into your memory. ध्याए means get to the ध्यान दी अवस्था. It's a third stage. Start with Japana. Japana becomes Simrana. Simrana becomes Dhyan. Dhyan becomes Samadhi. Those are the 4 stages according to Gurbani. It says start on that path. Har har means repetition. Kisdi? That naam, that word, that shabad. Until what? Till you get to the Dhyan. Once you get there, a revolution is going to come into your life, which is what? Kar sangat nit sadhaki gur charani chitalai. Your company is going to change. The people you associate with change. You will look for those who are also helping you on that path. Right? I mean, we have a saying in Punjabi, shakar kore nu shakar mili jandi hai. Hai na? If whatever your inclination, you will seek that type of congregation, you will seek that type of company. So if you get on that path, this becomes a possibility, which is kar sangat nit sadhaki. Sadh doesn't mean somebody who has a yellow robe or a long beard. That's not what it means. Sadh means the one who has done sadhana, the one who has achieved something, who will help you to stay on that course, on a spiritualistic, mystical path. So if that happens, the rest becomes easy. Why? Naam ne dhyan te aaye mastak hove bhav. Because if you are in the company of the right kind, what would they suggest you? Let's get on with it. We have talked enough. Let's actually do it. Let's actually put it into practice. And you'll be surprised. That's why in Sikhism that's called Ik Sikh, Do Sangat. That's all. Actually the third one becomes a Gurdwara and there becomes a problem. You just need to, just sit down. Hence the institution of marriage in Sikhism is exactly that. You are not married just so that you can, the way the rest of the world says, go multiply. That's automatic. You don't need to do anything special about that. No, get together and be a Sangat. And in that Sangat do what? Naam Nidhan Dhyaye. Together you become each other's sport and you get into the bhakti marg, you get into the meditation path. Mastak hove paag. May that blessing be with you what will happen? Karaj sab sawarye Guru ki charni lag. Then the purpose for which you came on this planet would automatically be covered. Haume rog parm katiye na aave na jaave. The root cause of your separation from the ultimate creative energy. What is that? We just talked about it. Haume. The only problem, and the only problem only with the humans. A cat has no ego. It doesn't tell another cat, I'm prettier than you.
Maybe it does, we don't know.
Another egotistical statement by another human being. It doesn't want to be wrong. The only race on this planet which does not want to be equated to the animal and does everything that is lower than the animal. No animal tortures their own species. No animal kills their own species. No animal cheats their own species. Watch this National Geographic that when a tiger has hunted, another tiger comes to take it, so watch what happens. Never. All he needs to do is just show once, this is my kill. And he runs away. We are the only one who stake claims. We are the only one who divide. A human's inhumanity to another human is absolutely has no limits to it. And no other animal does that. No other creation does that. And we don't want to be compared to the animal. Don't call me a dog. We have learned nothing from the dog. If anything, we got his greed, not his loyalty. We got the stubbornness from the jackass, but not the hard work from him. But don't call me a jackass. I'm not. And Gurbani says, if you get on the path and seek the counsel and the company of the right people, suddenly the most insidious disease that you have, every one of us have, how may, and what is this called? Rogue. Gurbani recognizes this as, it gives us the, at least a license that you are not at fault for about this. It's a disease, you have been infected with it. How may rog manak kaudina. Say, I don't blame you. You have been infected with this disease. The only problem is that you are working to cure every other possible disease except this. This one you actually want to maintain. Anybody who reminds you that you need to subordinate your ego, you actually get offended and fight for it. Why should I do that? I am somebody. अजी हम कुछ होते हैं, ऐसी क्या बात है? And then we try to hide behind beautiful words. अजी ये ego नहीं है, ये स्वाभिमान है, ये self respect है. बोले self respect पॉजिटिव होती है, अहंकार नेगेटिव होता है. ये एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू हैं. These are the opposite sides of the same coin. Sway Abhiman, everybody understands out of the self-respect. What does that mean? Well, go to talk to anybody in the Shaolin temple, they'll tell you what a Sway Abhiman means. That Bodhi mystic who meditates 18 hours out of the 24 hours, then spends 1 hour learning the martial art. Why? I'm not going to allow to be exploited by an unscrupulous energy the energy that I am developing as a spiritual being, somebody is not going to abuse it. And if they try to abuse it, I'm going to defend it. Only defend it. Which is what Sikhism is about. What is? Bhai kahu ko det nahi. I am not trying to scare anybody. But at the same time, nahi bhai manat an. And I'm not going to be scared by anybody else either. That is Sikhism. Bhai kahu ko det nahi. We completely missed the boat. Completely missed the boat. We forgot the difference between a Bahadur and a Zalim. A brave man and a tyrant. They both have the same damn gun. A gun in the hands of a tyrant is not the same thing a gun in the hands of a brave man. Because a brave man will only use to defend himself or help the one who cannot defend himself. A tyrant will use the same gun to control the other, to subordinate the other, to rule the other. It's the same gun. And we forgot the difference. इसलिए सिख पहले संत है, सिपाही बाद में है. सिख के लिए टाइटल क्या है? संत सिपाही. And what do we become? संत की तो ऐसी ऐसी उसको कुछ नहीं, सिपाही जरूर बन लो पहले. कृपाल ले लो, संत हो लो. And the interesting thing is, it took 9 generations to create a sant and 1 generation to create a sipahi. Look at the ratio. From first master to the 9th master, nothing but sant. And the 10th master comes in and adds the sipahi element. And look what the Sikhs have done. They neither understood nor perpetuated the message. And it's only 300 years old. What a tragedy. A perfect model for a human being. And we missed it. And Gurbani brings us back and says, seek that company. And that company will do what? It will put you on the right path, because it will get rid of the basic disease which is taking you in the wrong direction. Instead of making you sant first, it's making you a tyrant. Why? Because hame rogue is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and more. And if you seek the right counsel, what will happen? Hame rogue bharam kattiya. It is just an illusion. Bharam. It's not a reality. माँ बाप ने तेरा नाम जसवंत सिंह रखा है. It is an illusion. You are not Jaswant Singh. You are something different, better, higher. Don't sell yourself short. It's just an illusion. Don't keep on saying, अजी आप कौन है? अजी मैं जसवंत सिंह हूँ. अरे भोले, ये तो you are selling yourself short. ये तो भ्रम है. क्यों हो? क्यों ये भ्रम चल रहा है? कहने लगे वो हाँ में जो है वो लोग गहराई होता जा रहा है. Seek the right counsel, seek the right company. And what should I do? हाँ में रोग भ्रम कटिए, ना आवे ना जाग. Then the cycle of life and death can be finished. कर संगत तू साध की 68 तीर्थ नाओ. If you find the right company, that is your true Tirthashana. 68 Tirtha is right included in there. You don't have to go anywhere. They are included in it. You don't need to run around. Jio pran man tan hare sacha ehe swao. Then your inner and outer will actually bloom. Hare. It will bloom. There will be true spring. And in that sense, what will happen? Athe mile vadiyaiyan darge paave thao. The people here will recognize your effort and will commend you for that, and the Creator will give you also the credentials and say, aha, this is the entity that went for something, promised something, and actually delivered it. Darge paave. Even over darge means the other dimension. You will get the recognition there as well. But understand, look at how careful Gurbani is, right? I mean, it just gave the instruction what to do. Seek the right counsel, har naam nutya, and then it hammers at the ego right away. So wait a minute, you are not the one doer, by the way, remember it. Don't let this come from the back door that, acha ji guru ne kya sikha, I'm going to do it now. Look at the next line. Kare karaye aap prabh sab kich tisi haath. Don't ever forget it. Why this? एक पासे कहता कार फेर कहते नहीं वही कर रहे हैं, एक पासे कार फेर भी वही करे. What's going on here? And Gurbani, as Gita says, Arjuna, you are only the one who is actually sending the arrow out. You have nothing else in control. Who gets the arrow, who hurts from the arrow, who dies from the arrow, who survives from the arrow, is none of that is in your control. So that's what the definition of a karma yogi is. Just do the karma and forget the end. And we insist, well, then why should I do it? अगर रिजल्ट का ही नहीं पता तो करना ही क्यों? अरे भोले, अपने कर्म की गत मैं क्या जानूं? कबीर जी, एक्शन का रिजल्ट किसी ह्यूमन को भी कभी पता होता ही नहीं है. इट इज इम्पॉसिबल. इट इज एन इल्यूजन. सी, I invested $10, I got 10 million. See how smart I was? Well, how many of like you know? How many people invested the same $10 while you invested it too? Now, why didn't all of them got the same 10 million? You don't know that's how. It just so happens. It's a pure accidental thing that what you envisioned turned out to be so. You are not the doer of it, you are not the predictor of it, you are not the controller of it. Who's the controller? Kare karaye aap prabh. Sab kich tis hi haath. See, Gurbani is not reinventing. It's not at all saying, well, I shouldn't say it because Hindus have already said so. I mean, it's such a disease with us. No, ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚੀਅਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ. ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਪਾਗਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ? Every Brahmgyani always says the same thing because the truth is only one. How can it be said any differently? If you have seen it, tasted it, enjoyed the truth, it would be the same. Regardless of in which time and space you are born, which language you use, it will be totally irrelevant. You will declare the same truth. There is a story in the life of Buddha that both Buddha and Mahavira, Buddha traveled for 40 years, just about the same time Mahavira, and they ended up in the same village. And their disciple arranged their meeting together and wanted to see if one Brahmgyani, an enlightened soul, meets another enlightened soul, and they start talking to each other, what will they say? And they all want to hear it. So, some of his disciples, they are sitting, and Mahavira and Buddha has a platform, and they are sitting on the platform, and the people are waiting for them to say something. 3 days went by.
Not one word.
Now they are sitting. After 3 days, they bow to each other, and they go their way, and the disciples are absolutely going nuts. quite a waste of time and opportunity. So they couldn't resist. They had to ask the master, why did you say something? You say what? Whatever is his experience is mine, we have seen it. So what do you say? His truth is mine, my truth is his. You can only talk about lies. Why did you talk about truth? Truth just is. So we recognized it. For 3 days we sat and we exchanged a lot which you did not see. You cannot see. It cannot be shown. And Buddha made a beautiful statement there. It's mind-boggling. He says, when two agyani meets, there's a lot of noise. When a jnani and a agyani meets, there is a monologue. And when two jnanis meet, it's complete silence. Because between a jnani and a agyani, some things to be exchanged. So there is a monologue. Agyani has nothing to say. Jnani has a lot to say. And the agyani has to absorb it. Two agyanis, they are both trying to tell you each other's agyan. No, wo usko sunta hai, na wo usko sunta hai. Have you ever seen, particularly in the parties, when the people talk to each other? They pick up the half the statement and the one start talking, the other one still continue talking. Observe that. Neither one will they stop. They'll continue. बात करते जाए. And that's how the noise level goes up, because now since the other one is not listening, the first one will try to raise the voice, the other one will then go higher than that, and the other one will go higher. So the noise in the party is deafening and nobody is listening to anybody. So Buddha said, when two agyanis meet, it's noise. When a jnani and a agyani meets, it's monologue, not a dialogue. And when two jnanis meet, it's complete silence. There's nothing to say. And that's what Guru Bani brings us back and say, understand, you are not the doer. If you think you are the doer, you have now stepped back into the agyan. Who's the doer? Kare karaye aap prabhu. The only truth, unchallengeable, unquestionable, and anybody who questions it, undefendable. सब किछ तिस ही हा मारे आपे जीवाल दा अंतर बाहर साथ नानक प्रभ शरणागति सर्व घटा के नाथ. The one who is on the path surrenders to that. Where नानक प्रभ शरणागति, शरण चले जाना, surrender कर देना. To what? Not to a human, not to a symbol, not to a murti, not to a anything, but who? Sarv Ghata ke nath. That energy that is manifested in where? Sarv Ghata. The manifested in everywhere. You just surrender to that energy. And if you do that, what happens then? Sarna paye prabhe apne gur hova karpal. If you surrender with the grace of your master, then Satguru kai upadesiye binisay sarva janjal. See the link? We have already started the next hymn. Look at the continuity of this. This is not coincidental. This is not accidental. This is not random. They are the links of the same chain. They are the pearls in the same necklace. They are joined together. There is a common thread running. What happens then? Sarn paye prabhe apne gur hova kripal Satguru ke upadesiye binsay sarva janjal. What's a janjal? Literally, the chain in your feet. Bondage. Janjal means bondage. What is the bondage for us? The cycle of life and death. This is if you get on that path, that bondage will what happen? Bin said. It will be automatically destroyed. You don't need to do anything. It will drop by itself. Because all you need to worry about is Andar Laga Ramana. That's what you need to worry about. आजकल की लगा हुआ है भाई डॉलर सस्ता होया है रुपया महंगा होता जा रहा है यार पैसे भेजे सी उते घाटा पै गया एक्सचेंज रेट बड़ा घट हो रहा है सोना बहुत महंगा हो गया यार की करिए कुड़ी का ब्याह करना है आजकल दिन की लगा हुआ है
Market is down.
Market is down, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? The intensity with which we watch our monitor for our stock going up and down. If we just shut that monitor off and close the eyes and look inside, can you imagine? At the same time, same amount, sitting in the same office chair, driving the same car, if for that moment you could say, let me look inside and get connected with my original source, otherwise that barrier is getting bigger and bigger and मिट्टी और कठी हो जा रही है, सैंड और कठी हो जा रही है, हवा आ रही है ने टिल्ला बनता जा रहा है अब्बर तू हरिया वाला दरिया दे विच समंदर दे विच मिट्टी कठी हो जा रही है more winds come, more dust comes, the hill is going bigger and bigger and ocean is going that way, I am going that way, sooner or later I'm going to dry up. So what happens? He's saying, Sarn Pare Pravyapane Guru Gova Kripal Satgur ke Upadeshye Vinse Sarv Janjal Andar Lagga Ram Naam Amrit Nadar Nihal. That's you need to worry about. Andar Lagga. And that if you can do that, what will happen? Rahaudi to kariye Man Mere Satgur Seva Sa. Sar means there's a certain benefit out of it, which milega in the picture. If you get there, it is not going to go waste. Have faith, try it, experiment with it, give it a shot. You have nothing to lose, only to gain. At least try it for a few days, for a few moments, for a few hours. Turn away from your monitor rather than watching the Wall Street going up and down. Go inside and close your eyes and see those emotions, those feelings, and get connected with them and see if it takes you back to your original creator. And if you do that, there will be, it's bound to be what? Man mere Satgur Seva Sar. If you get connected with that Satguru, then there is definitely going to be something coming out of it. Satguru Seva Sar Kare Daya Prabh Apani Ek Nimakh Na Mano Visar. May he bless you that you should be able to get to a state where Nimakh Na Mano Visar. Nimakh. Not even a fraction of a moment. Then what will happen? All this will be just a movie running in front of your eyes. And where you will be attached with the ultimate source. And if you get there, Gun Govind Nit Gaviye Avgun Katanaha, then you will look for the literally excuses Kadele Gun Govind. Anybody who meets you, well, they call you all crazy, by the way. You couldn't get labeled. Society will condemn you and say, "Bale, you pagal ki ho gaye." But that's okay. You can see their drama and you can pull them with you. And if you can, and that's okay too. Guru Nanak couldn't write of his own sons. They refused. His wife refused. His father-in-law, his own The only person who acknowledged Guru Nanak was either his sister or the Rais of that village, Raibula. Or Bebe Nanaki. Everybody said it, par ho gaya. एक कुराइया हो गया, इन्हें बेदी को डोब देता। गुण गोविंद नित गाविये अवगुण कट्टन हार बिन हर नाम ना सुख होए. If you are looking for the eternal blissfulness, you are not going to get it in no matter what other you do, because it has been tried and experimented in this world since the inception of human being on this planet. It's not going to happen. You are not given any unique powers. If you need that one, there's only one possibility, which is bin har naam na sukh hoye. So if you need the sukh, get to the har naam. Get to that meditation. There's no other choice. That's the only way. Kar dithe bisathar. The people have tried it without it, and they have all failed. And you are not any different. So, saje sifti ratya bhavjal uttare pa. All you need to do is listen to the word and implement it, and you will be able to transcend bhavajal, the metaphorical river that you need to cross to go to the other dimension. तीरथ वरत लख संजमा पाये साधु धूर लूक कमावे किसते जहाँ वेखे सदा अधूर थान थरंतर रवरया प्रभ मेरा पर. So understand what you have been taught so far, what you have been conditioned, which is what? Go do the tirthashna. Lakh sanjama. Sanjam means the control over the body. These are a ritualistic aspect of, they are not going to get you anywhere. People have tried it again and again, and it has failed. So why you keep on depending on it again? Why are you repeating the same mistake again? Paye sadhu dhur. Forget about that. Then do what? He said, the one who has gone ahead of you, find him. Sadhu di dhur means usdi sangat, us company. And what will he tell you? Look kamave kisate jan vekhe sada hadur. He will tell you that stop at least deceiving yourself. Self-deception. Look kamave. Every action that we take in this world, we put it onto the two tests. First test is, society is not watching me. समाज की कहेगा, कोई देखता तो नहीं पे. What's the second test? सिपाही ना फड़ के ले जाए. The law should not get hold of me. I don't want to go to jail. So, if I don't have to go to jail and nobody is watching me, I'll do whatever I want. That's okay. Then I'm willing to do anything and everything without putting it to any test. And Gurbani says, if you meet the right soul, that soul is first going to ask you, don't you understand a simple fact, which is, Look kamave kiste? Who are you hiding it from? Because the one you are hiding from, there is no way to hide from him. You can hide from the society, you can hide from the law. But Ja Vekhe Sada Hadur, the one who is inside you, how are you going to hide from him? So, every action, every decision that you make, put it to that test. Not to the test of the society, not to the test of the law, put it to the test. What? Would he accept it? or would he reject it? And that would be the lesson if you get into the right company. So then what happens? Than Thanantar Ravraya Prabh Mera Parpur. He is all around. So if you get that message through you, Sach Patshahi, Amar Sach, Sache, Sacha, Than, Sachi, Kudrat Dhariyan, Sach, Sirjyon Jahan, Nanak Japiye, Sach Naam Haun Sada Sada Gurban. Brings it to right back to where we started from. He is the ultimate creative energy. Sach Patshahi. He is the only one. Amar Sach. He is the only one who is Amar. Mar Jama A. The one who doesn't die. Sach, Sache, Sacha, Than. All this creation is his creation, and it is as pure as he himself. Sachi Kudrat Dhariyan. All this creation, all this nature is his creation. Such Sarjun Jahan. He created in that truthfulness. So what is your job in this? Here is the final answer of the evening. Nanak Japiye Sachana. The first step started from where? Japiye. What? Sachana. What does it mean? Any word, any naam that points you out to what? Sach. That's a test. And we have talked about this a number of times. If any word gets you into any mythical literature, then you are gone on the wrong track. Any word that gets you attached with the ultimate creative energy is the real, true such word. So get started on that path. Nanak Japiye Swachanam. And do what? While on that path, how? The ego. Continue bringing it down. Keep on sacrificing. That's what I always remind all of my Hindu friends. They do Havan and say, if you are doing a Havan, part of your ego, throw that in there and along with the fire. Don't just throw the samagri and the ghee and the this. Throw part of you in there. What? How? How sada sada. Sacrifice. What? Not something dead, something alive from within you. Your anger, your greed, your desire, your attachment, your arrogance. Give that away and make a promise to that Agni and say, Agni Devta, before I meet you next time, I would be practicing controlling my anger, controlling my ego, controlling my... Here is my ahuti to you. Here is my promise to you. That's called kurbani. कुर्बानी नहीं कि तो मुर्गा ले आके चटका आगे क्या ले आते रहते अरे मुर्गे ने की को है बकरा चटका देता भेड़ा चटका देता गऊ चटका देती हाथी चटका अरे की कर रहे हैं How can the creator be happy by seeing the blood of his own creation? How is it possible? Think about it. You are a painter. You make a painting. And instead of buying the painting, I come to you, I tear it apart and say, would you accept it? Rather than buying your painting and appreciating your painting, I tear it and say, here is a sacrifice to you. It's your creation. This is what we are doing. Asa festival bana liya धरती के उत्ते called Bakra Eid. Not one, not two. Hundreds of thousands of animals will be slaughtered on that day as a sacrifice to the Creator on a single day. And we think we are actually glorifying it. That's not the Qurbani. Qurbani teaches you What is the real qurbani? How sada sada qurban? My own ego is the sacrifice to you. When? Once only, nahi. Sada sada. Every moment you live, you surrender that to Him and say, help me, grace me, support me. So may He give us the courage and the strength to take even one word out of this and put it in our own life. Maybe if we are meant to be, then we will get there where we are supposed to go. With that, I want to thank you for coming. And this will conclude the 85th and 86th hymn. When we meet next, we'll pick up from here and go to the 87th.